Matt, you've seen some interesting non-gaming news this week.
Yes, indeed. So we've talked before about SpaceX and those sort of things, and plans to colonize other planets and so on. And it's an interesting story regarding a UK firm as well. We're based in the UK, so it's always interesting seeing these things, particularly concerning UK businesses. What they've worked out how to do, and it's solving a problem of, if you're going to space, you've obviously not, it's hard to get there. So, but if you're going to, this is concerning the moon. To get to the moon, you need to fly up in a rocket. You've not got a huge amount of storage space, and the more you take, the more fuel you need, so the more expensive it is. There's a company that's worked out that they can turn moon rock, just normal moon rock, there's an abundance of it on the moon, and turn it into both oxygen and metals. So you could create a supply of oxygen that you could then use. Obviously humans need it to exist in that particular place. 45% of moon rock is just oxygen, so you can use that as a resource. The remaining sort of portion of the rock, though, is a combination of, let me just find the exact metals. I think I said to you earlier, aluminium, iron, and other types of metals. So once you got the oxygen out, you're left with all this metal that you can then potentially use for building stuff, for example, which I think is fantastic. So, really, you need to go there with the basic tools, but ultimately, you've got a great deal of what you need actually on the moon.
That's fascinating as well, but I guess it shows kind of, how far science has come in that respect, and research into these things, and the just the possibility of traveling to the moon as frequently as we do, or certainly sending things up there to research and bring back samples of the rock and things like that. So
they're planning on to, apparently, in this article it mentions it as well. NASA and other space agencies are planning to establish a permanent lunar base or moon village, where nations will operate alongside private companies on critical technologies such as life support, habitat construction, energy generation, and food. So in a way, like they've got the space station now, they'll have or even close to home in the North Pole, and they've got an outpost where people are. You'll have that set up, which is incredible.
That's mad. Is there a time frame on when they think that?
No, it doesn't say in this particular article the time frame, but it's something that they're developing at present.
We have touched on space travel before, and whether you'd want to be one of the first to go up there and colonize another planet.
It does say returning humans to the moon as early as 2024, 4 years time. And the interesting thing is the moon is 220 miles from Earth. So
I mean, it's achievable.
It's achievable. Well, you think from how far is London from where we live?
That's 105
probably
miles,
the equivalent.
Like
But crazy.
There and back.
Yeah.
If you could go, and you could take any item with you, what would it be?
See, I would always imagine the moon as being quite it's quite barren, isn't it? There's not a lot there. I'd like to be cozy, like your duvet or something like that would be a preferred choice. But probably the main thing that really, if I was anywhere that brings you that, gives you the ability to do whatever you want, and also you have that security, it would ridiculously probably be my computer. Yeah. If I could take my computer and I've got games on it, I've got access to the world.
Imagine that you go to a new planet to play a game.
Yeah,
I was thinking exactly the same though. It would either be a PS5 or an Xbox, but then I would need a TV to go with me. So
yeah, you'd have to have a TV.
Might be a lot. I'll just take the laptop then.
Laptop.
No, but most people would probably say something like their phone or something like that, because I was thinking maybe a camera. I've got a camera on my phone to take pictures of it. I know what you mean though, with that thought of it being sparse and not a great deal there, but and almost in my head I feel like the moon is that small that you'd be able to just see over the edge like, and then it goes. Do you know, in my head?
think it is.
But this is what I mean. Like, I do in my head. It's like it's that it's that round, small round dot in the sky. It's not like it's. And I'm sure the same would be thought if we were on another planet looking at Earth or
Looking at
whatever. But
us,
it's that kind of. I mean, I'm not. It's definitely smaller than the Earth. So
because it orbits the Earth, but I
so
don't know
I
how.
reckon I could walk it in. Walk round the whole moon.
20 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah. If I had a nice jog on, but gravity issues, it might slow me down a bit. But yeah, interesting news. Yeah.
But it's another example of one of those things where you think, when you was little or whatever, thinking, "Wow, being an astronaut, imagine that," and it's very quickly becoming. I think since private companies have been involved, there's a lot of money in it. Like rather than with a government agency, there's always that sort of limit, like NASA and stuff like that. But now all these private companies are developing stuff. It's amazing. I guess the question is, what are the the disadvantages of it? If you've got a private company and they're gonna really screw up the moon in some way, I guess that's a danger as well, isn't it?
I mean, it's certainly something. I mean, you and I both moved from, and the same applies on Earth, really. We both moved from built-up areas in and around London, and we've moved to Norfolk, out in East Anglia, near the coast, where when I moved up here, or even when I started coming up this way, everywhere was green. There's a lot more green land where things aren't. Even where I live.
Untouched.
Yeah, even where I live now, in the 10 years that I've lived in Norfolk, there's so much more change with regards to the amount of houses that have been built on a lot of that green space. And that's one thing, you kind of look at something like the moon, and yes, I think it's good for research purposes, and there could be a lot more we could discover if we did have a more permanent base up there. But to turn it into something, like you say, which could actually be detrimental to it.
Yeah, well, no, I think I've said this on a previous episode, but it was Jeff Bezos, the founder of Amazon. I'm sure he was quoted in saying that to keep the planet in as best a condition as possible, you should do all manufacturing off-world. So, like, you could use the moon full of factories and have it as like this industrial complex that made all the stuff that, is a bit dodgy making for environmental reasons on this country, and then they ship it to the Earth. So your Amazon parcels coming from the moon,
you might not get next day. Then
next day would be a push.
Prime might be pretty pointless. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I can see that, but then surely, I mean, doesn't the moon some way kind of impact on tidal waves, but the sea in general?
Yeah, it does. I don't know exactly how it works, but there is that sort of thing happening.
I'm not that clever to know, but I'm definitely sure. So this is what I'm saying. Like, if there's something that could impact on the moon as a whole, that is going to have some sort of impact elsewhere, and that's kind of where my thought was on that. But yeah,
and probably effects that you don't know until you do it and really mess it up.
Yeah. Maybe go to another planet. Let's try Mars.
Let's Mars up first. That's further away.
Yeah, that shouldn't hopefully have any impact unless there's some sort of life form that's then going to come and attack us. But let's see.